gentlemen, I am Toastmaster Farid, one of your hosts. Welcome you all to our another episode of District 79 podcast. I have to introduce my co-host. If I want to describe her in one word, I can just say ingenious Toastmaster Mallika.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Farid. That's truly a huge compliment. Although, you don't fall short of being a visionary-minded person either. While our main aim during these podcasts is to discuss and shed light on the conventional way of preparing and delivering speeches, there are often scenarios where the speaker may have to create an illusionary persona. And while many of us love to tickle the funny bones while talking to a group of people, not all of us can be witty. Farid, I would like to ask you, how good are you in delivering humorous speeches?
It's a good question, Mallika. I started my Toastmaster journey 2 years back, and I was a bit confident in appearing in front of an audience and speak in front of them. So one of my friends approached and he was telling me, why can't you try for a humorous speech in our upcoming contest? I took it as a challenge and I started preparing it. I was practicing in front of my family. For each and every action and the word I uttered, my son and daughter were laughing out loud. Actually, it boosted my morale. The day came of the contest when I performed. That day, I realized there are two kinds of laughs. One is laughing at you and one is laughing for you. By the way, my son ages 5 and my daughter ages 2. You understood.
Well said, Farid. While delivering a speech in front of your loved ones in a familiar setting, everything might seem so easy. But the moment you're on stage, you can feel your senses shut. In the initial days when I started my teaching profession, I would even practice in front of props to portray students. I would place my daughter's teddy bears on the couch and do my lessons in front of them. I realized that props don't create a fuss, while the students in the real settings of a classroom can sometimes give you a nightmare. And that's when I finally met the real deal. Okay, all jokes apart. Today we are privileged to have amongst us 4 eminent personalities who will share the tricks of the trade to deliver the most tear-jerking giggles and speeches. Yes, you guessed it right. These are our very own humorous champions of District 79. Our first guest, who is a highly passionate and energetic Toastmaster and who's been part of our wonderful fraternity since 22 years. He is currently a member of 5 clubs and serving in the District Advisory Team. Not only has he been the District 79 Governor in 2012, Pathways Ambassador and Guide, Parliamentarian for 2 years, he has also earned 4 DTMs. He has always been a trendsetter as he was the first Arab to earn this distinction in the Gulf. So no wonder he was the first to earn a DTM in Pathways 2 in Saudi Arabia. He was the second runner-up in Humorous Championship at SATAC 2019 and the first runner-up this year in International Speech Contest and Division J Humorous Contest. He is none other than distinguished Toastmaster Nazeer Gazaq Alqasem. We welcome you to our first video podcast, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm mesmerized with your introduction, Mallika. You read it exactly like I wrote it, by the way. Thank you for doing that. You missed maybe some humorous note, which is I am really married to 4 and I have 1 child. No, it's the way opposite. No, I am married to 1 and have 4 children. Back to you.
Next guest is Division N Humorous Speech Champion for the year 2016, 2018, 2020. Come on! And he also at District 79 Humorous Speech, second runner-up. And not only in speech, he have proved himself as a great leader by taking a role as Division N Director 2016-2017. Immediate past president of Kohinoor Toastmaster Club and current president of Elite 30 Advanced Toastmaster Club. I'm proud to invite our guest, DTM Krishnakumar.
So Farid for a short introduction, but it was very nice.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our next guest who dons many hats. He's an assistant professor of English at the Royal Commission's University College since 1996, an active Toastmaster since 2003, 2019 SATAC Humorous Speech Champion, a motivational speaker and workshop presenter, short story writer and literary reviewer. He is passionate about reading, penning down his thoughts through his creative writing and mentoring new upcoming talents. He is Distinguished Toastmaster Dr. R.J. George. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Our next guest is multi-talented person, humorous speech champion in District 79 for n number of times, mentor of many. If you have a doubt in conducting debate or a tall tale contest, she is the one to approach for. Let me welcome my friend Toastmaster Minuri Wijesekara.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I love seeing how people think of me when I don't give them my introduction. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
So to begin with our today's session, Dr. DTM Nazeer sir, can you please tell our viewers that while many of us find it very difficult to evoke laughter from our audience, are there any specific techniques which you follow while crafting your speech and while delivering your humorous speeches?
Okay, Mallika, is this a table topics question, or I can ask you to say it one more time? No, really, just hold on. I like to tell you something about my history before we came to humor. I always wanted to be a dentist. I loved to be that, but then I failed the university test. So I chose to be humorous. Now I see more teeth than the dentist when I go on stage. So I see myself a strong candidate for dentistry again. Now, your question is saying how we can give tips to those people listening to us.
Yeah.
I tell you, the humor is a wonderful process. We can learn it easily. It's just people have to put their minds and put the things, how they can approach that humor subject. The best thing is to have exaggeration and a twist in your speech. Because people are not expecting something, you twist it and they bring laughter. So laughter is really something surprise for people.
And sometimes you feel that though you have prepared yourself very well, the kind of reactions that you get from the audience is completely the opposite. And in such situations, what we should do when no one is laughing at our jokes, how should one react to such situations?
Well, okay.
What do you feel?
The idea is when you are presenting to a particular audience, I'm going to tell you that maybe that message that you are giving and quoting it with humor does not cling with them.
Reach.
Yeah, so what you do is try more by recording your message and delivering it to other audience, and you can refine, because believe me, a winning humorous speech is not written, it's rewritten. So every time you try it, you have new audience, always record and see where they laugh or where they didn't laugh and remove it.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
DTM Krishnakumar, I want to ask you before, because I never met you in person, but in the video you look a bit younger. What's your age, by the way?
Age. In my 45 years of my life, I never told anyone my age. So excuse me, I cannot tell my age at this time.
That's for ladies, not for the men.
There are two pretty ladies here.
DTM Krishnakumar, one of the main things in humorous speech is understanding your audience. When you contest in club level, the group of people is almost unknown people, so they easily relate to your jokes. But when you go to the area, it's going to be a bigger crowd with different clubs. And when you go to a division level, it's going to be a large number of clubs and large number of guests. How you can understand your audience in different stages?
Now the audience are almost the mentality are same. Okay. They come prepared to laugh. Okay, even club level, area level, or division level, almost all the same. But preparation for the preparation for different level, we make changes. Like DTM Nazeer said, we rewrite our script according to the audience. We make the changes. We record our own speeches, and we remove those elements which are not making any laughter, and we add something new in the next level. This is how we improve ourselves. The audience, as I said earlier, I never blame the audience. I always blame the speaker if the audience is not laughing.
Well said. DTM George sir, my next question goes to you.
Yes.
As we all know that the situation that we are facing right now due to COVID is really very challenging, and most of us are going through a lot of stress, not just at home, but also in our workplace. So do you think that humor can play a major factor in lightening the mood and uplifting the spirits of people while you're at work? What is your view on that, sir?
Absolutely. So we need to just be very positive at work. And to be able to be positive, one should have a fine sense of humor. And at work, more often than not, we are under stress and we are under tremendous pressure. We are unable to meet deadlines. And even amidst this chaos, all we need to do is to keep your sanity by being humorous. If you learn to laugh things away in your own style, you can very well just cope with the increasing stress levels. And secondly, you always sit in an office along with a couple of other people. Your colleagues will be sitting there. You need to start your day with a little joke, crack a joke, make them laugh, bring a little smile on their faces, and then you feel everything around you extremely warm and comfortable. And even when I get into the classroom, for that matter, some of the students are not at all motivated. They attend classes just because they get paid. They get a monthly stipend and they want to just kill their time. And in order to just get them back on track, they usually drift off the moment they start teaching. So in order to gain them back, get them back on track, all I need to do is just to crack a joke at my own expense or at the expense of one of the students very friendly with me. And then the whole class will explode laughing. And when they laugh, they will say, "Teacher, wallah, you are a very good teacher," they will say. And I see smiles on their faces. When I see smiles on their faces, I'm ready. They are ready to be receptive. So at work, usually if you learn to practice the art of being humorous while talking, but you have to be a little careful. You need to make sure that your humor doesn't offend or hurt anybody. As long as you just carry on cracking little simple jokes, making people laugh, you can make your own day. You don't need somebody else to make your day. You be responsible for making your own day. This is my practice. I've been doing it for quite some time. Otherwise, you may lose your audience. At work, I may lose my colleagues. I may lose my students the day I cease to be humorous. So be always humorous. That's the trick of the trade.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Minuri, I would like to ask regarding the stereotypical jokes, what we see in club level, area level, and division level. It's about the jokes from the internet, or WhatsApp, or wife-husband joke. In one state, it's kind of boring. What's your advice on how to prepare a good humor, and what is the inspiration we can take to create a good humor by avoiding this kind of jokes which annoys a lot of people or which might hurt a lot of people? I need your opinion.
I always love saying that nobody can make fun of you better than yourself. So I think the best way to get a good humorous speech is to look into yourself, find out your flaws, and make fun of it. I really don't like listening to these WhatsApp joke humorous speeches. It's so terrible. It's just one joke after the other, copied straight from the internet, and it's so, as an audience member, it's very frustrating to watch because
Yeah.
either it's very offensive to just one part of a family, like it's either the husband or the wife who's just getting ragged on, and it's terrible. Otherwise, it's just those two-line jokes that we read, and there's no way to give a response to that. And the person who's giving the speech is expecting a response, and we don't know what to do at that point of time as an audience member. So I think a humorous speech, or any speech for that matter, should be authentic to who you are. It should come from your experiences, whether it be good experiences or bad experiences, and it should come from a place of sincerity. So that's why I believe that every speech, every humorous speech, it's the best way to self-deprecate without being harmful to yourself. Like, in a way of self-deprecation, you bring out a confidence in you. So I think that is the best way. That is the advice I can give anyone who's willing to attempt in a humorous speech contest. First of all, congratulations for taking that step. Secondly, think of your own life, your own experiences. Think of yourself, look at yourself, introspect, find out what you think are your flaws, because not all flaws that you think are considered flaws. So think of your own flaws and try to make light of them, make a joke out of them, and you will never know where you can find that self confidence from. So that's my advice.
I would like to just highlight one thing. Like, while it's good that we to relate with the audience, we're not putting up a facade. We are just showing who we are. But don't you think it's kind of self-loathing if you make jokes on yourself?
Well, yeah, that's the perception that usually we get from self deprecation. Now, I am a person who always loves to self deprecate. I know what my flaws are, what are my obvious flaws. I don't sort of talk about my insecurities because that's crazy. But the obvious flaws that I have, I do make fun of them. And it's all on, it depends all on the way you look at things, right? If you take
Yeah.
now the speech that I gave in 2017, at the start of it, I was really shy. When that speech started coming into fruition, I was really shy. I was thinking, I'm sort of putting myself out there. I'm highlighting everything that I want to hide in myself.
Yeah.
And at the start of it, I was feeling really upset. But then I started looking at it from a new perspective. You know, there are things that are obvious in front of people. And what's the point of hiding it and just
Mhm.
trying to sort of blend in when you can highlight it and make someone laugh and make someone
Make
look
it your
at
plus
that
point.
flaw.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
look at that flaw in a
That
different
could be
way.
your strength. Yeah. That could be your
Exactly.
strength.
So I adopted all those
Yeah.
flaws. I adopted everything into in a
Mhm.
good way, in a positive mindset, and that's what brought that speech into fruition.
Perfect.
So you should look at yourself in a different way.
Because the best thing is, yeah, you should be comfortable in your own skin, and that's what is the beauty of that brings out your confidence.
Definitely.
Perfect.
And I remember the speech of Minuri in 2017. In that speech, she was going to gym, and in that semi-final contest, I was the contest master, and she really threw that dumbbells on me.
And your
Fortunately, it was made of thermocol, so that was
Don't
the
reveal
speech.
my
It was
secret, Toastmaster
it,
Krishnakumar. It
it
was
landed
made of
safely.
thermocol. It was 5 kgs. Don't say that.
really. Oh, I just escaped.
I'd like to add one point to what
Sure, sir.
Minuri
Yeah.
said. Actually, I really like what you said about self-deprecating humor. This is the ultimate that a humorist should attempt. And I remember back in 1998, when we were trying to get humor going on in Dahran Toastmasters, I remember Abdullah Abandi, everybody remembers champion.
Yeah.
He was struggling with humor and he didn't read or go through the process. And I just asked him, I just called him Pink Panther. And he said, oh, Pink Panther, because he is so thin. And I said, this is the way you really bring humor about yourself. From there, he studied and he shot all the way and became the humorist that you know about.
And once more, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, sure.
And we need to be a little careful about the self-deprecating humor. Now, it so happened a few years ago back in India, I happened to be addressing a group of students, and I wanted to just tell them a little personal humorous story. I described how I was about to fall off a running bus, blah, 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 etc. But instead of laughing, they started pitying me. And I saw more serious looks on their faces. And therefore, even while crafting a self-deprecating humorous speech, you need to double check with one of your friends whether or not that speech is capable of evoking laughter. So this is a little warning to the prospective promising speakers.
DTM Nazeer sir, as you said, since you mentored this person and you brought out his confidence, and we all know that you have been a great mentor in our Toastmasters fraternity. In fact, your mentoring propelled two great champions win the World Championship event. So could you please guide us and provide some valuable tips to all those young Toastmasters who are planning to plunge into the contest this year?
Okay. I believe that every one of us is capable to be a humorist. Some people say, oh, me? No way. I remember exactly when we had Faisal Zahrani coming in, he said, oh, I cannot speak. I saw something in him that he can stand up and tell a joke, because in his environment, in the Arabic environment where he can tell jokes in here and people, you know, laugh. But he was afraid to face the audience with English and give. So I told him, okay, I'm gonna write for you the vote of thanks. Just deliver that. And I put a lot of humor in there. When he delivered and he had all that big response from the audience, next time he was competing, because you have to put yourself in it in order to win it. So he competed with me, his mentor, and he won. And I looked at his speech. It has to be restructured so he has the biggest laugh at the end, and he won the 2000 DTAG at that time, Faisal Zahrani. Now I tell the youngsters now who are coming, please try to be taking the role of fun master in your club. Deliver jokes, and that's an experiment at the club. And please listen to stand-up comedians. I can tell you, like Russell Peters or Maz Golobar. There are so many of them. George Carlin. So watch those stand-up comedians and see how they deliver. But please don't use their language, because on the stage they use sometimes obscene. But in our Toastmasters, we avoid anything that's really not acceptable by one audience. So try it, experiment, and learn the process, because I just said, the humor is a very easy process to learn. Just go through that process and you will really ice it. And listen to other humorous speakers. When you listen to them, see how they are delivering their messages. Now, the trick is, after you deliver your message, please record yourself, because nobody is better than you to evaluate and judge yourself.
That's the sign of a true leader, sir, because as a leader, you are empowering others and making them champions. Though you are also contesting with them, but still you feel that you have to guide the new talents. That's a great sign, sir. Thank you so much.
As DTM Nazeer shared his thoughts on for a stepping stone for a humorous speaker is to take a role in club level as a fun master. But normally what happens in this role is there will be a last minute come in and mostly they read the jokes. That is not the problem, but they just read the jokes and without any punches, and as an audience just we have to laugh or clap for a namesake. So what do you think how we can improve this role to a next level? DTM George.
The problem is, when you just deliver a joke or deliver a short humorous speech, which the audience members don't relate to, you lose them. And you lose the essence of your role. So my humble advice to all these joke masters, those who have a specific role to regale the audience, to entertain the audience, simple thing, if you learn to be original, perfect. If you are unable to be original, if you are a chronic borrower, you keep borrowing and borrowing, try to add a little color, flavor, try to give some local color, and try to make it more presentable. All we need to do is making the jokes you deliver at the club more presentable so that the receptive audience will really get regaled, entertained, and amused. This is my humble advice. And also, believe it or not, even now, I have a little notebook. I can show it to you. This looks like a big register. This is meant for noting down embarrassing moments, funny moments, moments over which
You're always on the lookout of it, yeah.
Yeah, always. Be observant. You put it right. You hit the nail on the head.
And
Be
since you're
observant.
dealing with students, I think, since you're dealing with
Yes.
students, I think you'll get a
Yeah,
lot of
I get
experience.
lots of experience from my students.
Mm.
Every day is a funny day for me, sometimes, not always. So this is how we can just turn our own experience into great jokes to make people laugh.
DTM Krishna sir, not many of us know that you are actually a YouTuber too. And that is one of your way to connect with the fans. You have so many fans and this is one way of getting connected with them. So could you shed a bit of light on that as well?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel. In that you can find so many of my humorous speeches, and there are 1,800 followers or subscribers are there for my channel.
Can you tell us your YouTube video, your username, so that we can also subscribe to your channel and benefit? Okay.
Krishnakumar, we are.
So all your speeches have been posted in this channel?
No, not all. Only few. There are more demands actually, but I did not post all.
Okay, but sir, what I can see here is that you just have 18 subscribers, sir. So you just mentioned that you have 1,800.
According to me, one subscriber is equal to 100 subscribers.
Oh,
I give that much value to my subscribers.
Oh, that's really great, sir. Thank you so much.
You can also subscribe my channel. You can be one of the hundreds.
I did.
You already did.
Sir. So I have 1,900 now.
So your number keeps increasing. Yeah, good to know that.
Okay, I would like to continue like DTM Nazeer and DTM George mentioned that using the role of joke master in our regular meeting. Of course, that is one of the way to improve our humor sense or delivering humorous speeches. The other way is that we regularly deliver our projects like manual speeches in our club. In your manual speeches, you can try to add one joke, two jokes, three jokes. So you can keep on adding. So this is one of the way you can, you know that the people are, your members are accepting your humor or no. at least you can try if you are inserting 2 jokes in your 7-minute speech. So it does not make any difference if they laugh or they does not laugh. No issue. So this way also you can try or improve your sense of humor.
And since we are going to have, it seems that we're going to have virtual contests this year, I would like our esteemed guests to just give us some tips on how to, ace it while you're in a virtual setup.
I think now for the past few months we have been getting used to this virtual scenario, and now that all the contests are virtual, I think everyone is, putting their heads in their hands and thinking this is not going to work. But there's always a way. There's always a way. So I think for humorous speakers, since we sort of bounce off the energy of the audience, it is tough for us to sort of have that reaction that we need. So because we need the laugh for us to get motivated to go on. But since we're talking to a bunch of screens and most probably our bedroom, it's not going to work. So I think the best thing here is to first script your speech in a way that you can test it in front of your friends. Even though it's virtual, you can test it in front of your friends on a screen and get the feedback from them, right? Because you have to get lots of things correct when you're having a virtual speech. You have the framing, you've got the lighting, everything, your internet connection most importantly. So those things can be helped out by your friends. And of course, you have to expect the audience's laughter, right? You know that you've written something funny. You have to expect the audience's laughter, even though you don't hear it. You have to move on. So give that space for them to react a little bit. Think in your head that you're performing in front of an actual audience. Give that space for them to react and move on. And even in this case, it's actually a benefit, because even if the speakers don't laugh at your speech, you think they're laughing. So it's great for you. That's my.
Of course, you see, I did twice the speech, one on the stage. I used the same speech virtual, but I have to modify because I know that I'm only looking at the camera. Now, let me tell you and all the listeners that humor, you have 3 ways. One is say something funny, and this is the content. What I told you about the process, how you make exaggeration and twist. And then say something in a funny way, like I just mentioned about the stand-up comedian, Maze Jobari or Peter Russell Peters. So you can say it in a funny way and make people look at your gestures because they are looking, and from your gestures, there will be laughter, although you don't hear it. But there was one question by one of the contestants in Toastmasters International at the world headquarters. They say, can't we have at least some of the mics open so we can hear the laughter? And they said, no, because the bandwidth, etc., it will be interfering. But now I told you the 2 things. Say something content funny or performance, the way you do it. And the ultimate for you as a speaker, whether it is on stage or on the virtual, is to say something funny in a funny way. Now, if you practice that a lot, don't worry, because I know just the people behind the camera, they are there. You have to envision they are laughing, because if you made some people laugh, you must sure there will be laughter.
George, sir, can you add a bit of your inputs to it?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the first 2, Toastmasters. In addition to that, what I would like to suggest, I would like to think loudly, rather. If you can have, let us say, 4 people, either your family members or close friends or colleagues, etc., sitting right behind the computer, listening to you, you have a feel that you are really addressing a live audience. And they may laugh. And probably that will be one of the sources of motivation. Could be your own children, your wife. Normally your wife doesn't like to listen to you. But this time around, you can persuade her, use all your power of persuasion, get her to sit behind the computer So you are looking at them and you are looking at the screen. Therefore, there are a few people listening to your speech. And more importantly, if you really have that fine sense of humor, if you are capable of laughing at yourself, at the funny moments, at funny things that you see around, probably you wouldn't mind, right, whether or not there is an audience response. So all you need to do is that when you are right in front of the computer addressing the screen, enjoy and make sure that you are at the best when it comes to delivering a humorous speech.
So actually the problem with me is when I deliver my speeches, I'm too animated. I use a lot of unnecessary hand movements and things like that, especially in a virtual setup.
Okay.
It's not very pleasing to the eyes. So, and we cannot have the stage movement as well. So what is your
Yeah, normally people say, this is an exercise, a real exercise in learning. On stage, for a humorous speaker, it is better to avoid excessive histrionics and theatrics. Sometimes some people come up with lots of props and lots of costumes and they jump around and they make the best use of the body language. But if you listen to Nazeer, he never uses body language. His vocal variety does the magic. And he speaks, and people listen to you, they enjoy. So I think this is a blessing in disguise for us to control our theatrics, histrionics, excessive overwhelming action on the stage. And this will certainly help us perform better on the real stage as well. So I think you can control. It is hard to control, but you can try controlling your excessive gestures and actions. And the movement should be restricted. And you probably can move a foot to your right and a foot to your left and get back to the center. And that will help. I think we don't have any problem. But controlling your actions will be key to achieving success.
I would like to help Mallika.
Yes.
Since you are competing, I'm going to give you from my own experience online, because I've done the international and the humorous. Now I can see you have beautiful face. You you don't have to use your hands and body, but facial expressions. Just watch this gentleman, which is called Maze Gubari. Let me see his name. Yes, Jubari. Just go and click and find. You can see his face all over, and then expression. People are laughing because of his expression in the face.
Facial expression.
Yeah, he used a little bit hands, but not the whole body. You are restricted. So this is the focus that you want to make people laugh, with your eyes, your mouth, and cheeks. So facial expressions, is the best thing on online environment.
And timely poses, when you believe that there is a humor, then you have to give the pose. You have to believe that there is a humor and the audience are going to laugh for that humor. So you have to give that pose. If you continue, then even I want to laugh, I will stop myself. So in this contest, the online contest, the poses have more important than the earlier contest. So you have to be very careful for the poses. You have to, while you are writing the script itself, you have to put pose. So in that way, you can practice poses. One more thing that when you are giving a pose, still you can encourage the audience to laugh by giving some facial expressions. So this is the tips I want to give to the people.
So Minuri, coming back to what I said earlier, we would like to know some aspects of your life which is unknown to most of us.
Well, I think I have sort of put everything on the line and spoken about every part of my life, because I think of myself as an open book. I don't really have anything to hide. In school, like, we all think we are comedians because when we are with our friends, we joke around and they laugh and we're like, oh, we are great, we are excellent comedians. But again, when you're not in that friend group, you are just a normal person. So I didn't actually think I was great at making people laugh, apart from my friends. But Toastmasters is actually the place where I stepped into this humor arena. And, a fun fact about me is that I joined in 2014, and that was the first year I competed in our club contest. And I was in all four categories. And the humorous speech, of course, is always the last to come around. So at that point of time, I
It's
was
not
so
everyone's
excited.
forte. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so excited because I thought, I had written a killer speech. Everything was going so great. I went up on stage. I spent, I think, 7 minutes and 14 seconds to be very precise on stage, and not a single person laughed, including my two parents. Even they didn't laugh. So I came down and I was so disappointed. And I thought, I'm not going to do it again. But then my friends and my Toastmasters from the club, they all motivated me. And in 2016 was the first time I realized that, okay, you know, having people around me to help me improve my humor is the actual key that, sent me to that status that you have today I have today as a humorous speaker. So I think that's one piece of trivia, is that not every start is always extremely successful. You have to climb up from rock bottom to reach the top. So that's a part of my life that I don't talk about much because I'm embarrassed about it. But here we go again. I've revealed it.
So from your setbacks, you achieved success. Good that you didn't give it up. Yeah. So that's a very important message for all of us. You may not be successful the first time, but don't keep trying. Don't give up.
Nazeer, your favorite punchline, please.
Farid, I have so many punchlines I love, but really I'm confused which one to tell you today. Let me, because I think Minuri talked about, we always say about women and wives. And this is my favorite. I have to say it. You see, because I say that my best quote is, behind every successful man, there is a woman. But this is not my quote. This is my wife's favorite quote. She put it everywhere, in the TV room, in the dining room, so I can see it, even on the pillow when I go to sleep. My goodness, everywhere in the house, everywhere I go, she wants to remind me, behind every successful man, there is a woman. And then I was happy when I left. I wore my thobe and was going out. I didn't see the note because everybody else was seeing it in my back. She wrote it on my thobe.
Great.
No, but seriously, Farid, I want to tell you something. There is misconception about humorous speeches and international. And this is probably to the audience to listen for this advice. If you look at the ballot of the judges and you look at the international speech and the humorous speech, it's word for word, everything. Look at that ballot. And there is only one item which is called the audience reaction, which is 15 points. That's all. So that means if I do a lot of humor and jokes and people laugh, I will be giving more points towards that portion. But the structure of the speech has to be good. There should be a message, because anything you give in life, a speech, whether it is evaluation, table topics, international, even tall tale. Now we are involved in tall tales this season. Please have a message and quote it with humor. So for those who think, oh, I will only entertain the audience, no need for a message. I have veterans who is telling me, oh, I don't need. I know. Please hold on, hold your horses. You have to think of a good message that you deliver when you have a humorous speech, because you people entertain, but you want to give them a lesson to learn, to take it home. Now, the other punchline that I love a lot is about age, but I'm gonna leave it to Dr. George to say it later on. Back to you.
Yes, sir. George, sir, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I am also very fond of dwelling on my age. I'm very fond of using Shakespeare's quote, age cannot wither me, nor custom stale my infinite variety. In Antony and Cleopatra, Shakespeare says. And Bernard Shaw says, now we stop playing not because we are old. In fact, we become old because we stop playing. These two quotes have been constantly inspiring me. Whenever, last time I was 60, believe it or not, I was 60 when I entered the contest after nearly about 10 years, maybe. And then I was inspired by these quotes. I wanted to participate no matter how the result would be. At the club level, it went very well. At the area level, I placed second. When I moved out to the division, I was first. Then actually, I was all nervous. I was not sure whether or not I would be able to win at the district level. Well, it happened. I was the winner. And there again, if you listen to my speech, you will figure out the very first line itself is, you cannot face the problem when the problem is your face. This is my first sentence. And they laughed. So my advice to the young generation of humorous speakers is, do not waste time. Do not waste time. You are constructing a little story, or you are turning a moment into a short anecdote, consuming a lot of time without any jokes. And only when you are about to finish, probably there is something that tickles the funny bones of the people. You have wasted almost about 3 minutes. Now you have only 4 minutes left. So every word, every sentence, every phrase should have a little humor. I started this way and people laughed. And then I said, this was the feedback I received from one of the expert evaluators. Then I made a pause. My wife, I said. And people thought that this was a kind of feedback from Toastmaster Nazeer or DTM's Polny Raj. I said, my wife. So here, in this context, let me also just give you a couple of, guidelines. Incongruity, that's an element. Incongruity means asymmetry. For example, let me give you a simple example. I was all set for the contest. I was the target speaker. When I walked into the hall, I saw 7 photographers and almost 8 videographers, 8 sergeants at arms, but only 3 contestants. There is a complete asymmetry, incongruity. So I use both exaggeration and incongruity. People laughed. This was something that I added on the day of contest at the district level. You got my point? So you should have a couple of ad-libs to add on. Be ready. Do not just repeat the same words again. Once you're done with the club level contest, immediately think about a couple of more jokes to be added. But it should be well connected, related to the topic, and so on and so forth. And secondly, pauses and punches are very important. Make a pause and then deliver the punch. That's very important. And try to be very simple. I made this statement, for example, this evaluator had a blissful smile. As you know, if you are innocent, if you have an innocent smile, you know that you don't know. But if you have a blissful smile, you don't know that you don't know. Very simple, but that evoked tremendous laughter. This also I added on the day of contest. And therefore, my advice is keep certain additional jokes, additional phrases and sentences ready to be deployed on the day of contest. Yeah, exactly. That will certainly come in handy. That will rescue you, because most of the audience members will also be there on the last day. It's my finding. And one more last thing, I think overshooting the time limit very quickly. Let me just share with you something that happened 15 years ago. I've been a Toastmaster for 18 years. 15 years ago, I had an image, very bad image of being a serious speaker. Oh, Dr. George, he's going to deliver a very serious speech. People used to drift off, tune out the moment I started. And then this somehow or other, this news came around and reached my ears. I felt very bad. Then I asked my friends and my mentors, how should I just change this situation? They suggested, no, there are two things you care about, head and heart. Your speech appeals to the head and to the heart, but it doesn't appeal to the sense of humor, the third edge. And in order for you to be able to engage the audience, use a little humor. I tried. That was the first time I tried being humorous. It worked, luckily. It really worked. And ever since, I made it a point to add adequate humor, not excessive amounts, adequate amounts of humor to my speech that helped me really to reach out to the audience, engage them, entertain them, and that really helped me to get across to them the right message. So this is my humble advice. Use all the elements of humor, as DTM Nazeer pointed out. Don't lose focus on the main idea. There should be a theme. You may wonder, what is the big theme in your speech, Dr. George? It is very simple. I'll break it down. You cannot face a problem when the problem is your face. When you are the problem, it is preposterous on your part to seek solutions from sources external to you. You are the problem. Nobody else caused the problem. All right? This is how I explain to some of my skeptics and critics. There were some cynics also right after I won the trophy. I had to just pacify them in this way. So there should be certainly a point to make when you deliver a speech. Tell a story, remember to make the point and make it as clear as possible.
DTM Krishna, sir?
Yeah, actually you were asking your favorite punchlines. Few days back, I sincerely evaluated my wife. And that was the my favorite punchline, because only that line I spoke. The remaining one was just action.
The punches, okay.
Behind a very successful person, there will be somebody pushing from behind. And that was my wife. Of course, I believe it is all applied to everyone. Okay, in conclusion, okay, see why I like to participate in humorous speech is there are so many reasons. One of the reasons is there is very less competition. Most of the Toastmasters believe that they are not able to give a humorous speeches. So that is why we see you see us regular humorous speakers. That is one of the things. Second important thing which I like is that when we give a humorous speech, we are more creative. We are more creative. In my first experience as a humorous speech contestant, I borrowed a 3-line story. Okay, it was not my story. It was an internet story, you say. It was only just 3 lines. But I made that 3 line to 7-minute speech. Understood. So that was the creativity. From that moment, I believe that I am able to create more. Even if you get to 3 line, I can make a speech of 7 minutes. Of course, in that contest, I got disqualified because the basic idea was not mine. Okay. So it improves humorous speech. If you are trying to give a humorous speech, it improves your creativity thoughts. That is the one of the major attractions I see in a humorous speech. In an international speech, you just share your experience only, your personal experience you share. You don't make any creativity. You don't add anything to that that story. It was your own real story. There is nothing made up. But humorous speeches always are made up stories. So it is you are a creator. You can say that in that way. Third one is that you are entertaining the audience. So you get the satisfaction of entertaining people. So these are the main reasons why I am mostly concentrated on humorous speeches.
We would have loved to have this conversation going on and on, but due to paucity of time, unfortunately, we have to wind up. I would end by thanking all the four guests for their time in spite of their busy schedules. To wrap up, I would say one thing with utmost conviction, that humor, and more specifically laughter, can have a positive effect on the human body and emotional state. In keeping with the coronavirus guidelines, we confirm having strictly followed the social distancing norms while creating this video podcast, and hope you too will strictly comply with the social distancing rules and other precautionary measures to avoid the spread of this pandemic. We conclude today's podcast with the promise to come back with many more thrilling and entertaining podcasts in the near future. This is me, Toastmaster Mallika, with Toastmaster Farheed and the entire PR team signing off. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep inspiring.